Have you ever closed the door behind you, heard the soft click of the lock, and wondered, what is my dog thinking right now? Are they staring at that door, waiting for it to open again? Or do they sigh, stretch out on the rug, and drift into their own world until you return? That question, does my dog really miss me when I'm gone, is one that every pet owner has felt deep inside. It's that small ache that follows us to work, to the grocery store, even on vacations. We love them so much that part of us hopes they feel the same longing. But another part of us worries. What if they forget us the moment we leave? The truth, as science reveals, is both beautiful and more complex than we might expect. Because dogs don't experience time, memory, and attachment quite like humans do. Yet what they feel is just as real, sometimes even deeper. Imagine this, it's morning. You're grabbing your keys, sliding on your shoes. Your dog watches from across the room, head tilted, tail motionless. They know. Somehow, before you've even touched the door handle, they already sense what's coming. The tiny rituals of your leaving, grabbing the bag, putting on perfume, jingling the keys, these are signals burned into their mind through repetition and emotion. To your dog, those cues don't just say, you're leaving. They say, I'm about to lose my person. That reaction doesn't come from intelligence or language, it comes from association. Over time, your dog's brain has linked certain sounds, smells, and actions to emotional events. The same way you might feel nostalgic when hearing a song from childhood. Your dog feels an emotional pulse when they see you reach for your shoes. Their heart rate changes. Cortisol, the stress hormone, may rise. They might pace, whine, or stare. You see, dogs are masters of emotional pattern recognition. They don't know what 5 hours or 3 days means, but they know what absence feels like. The emptiness of the house, the silence of footsteps that don't come, the fading scent of you in the air. When scientists studied dogs' brains using fMRI scanners, they found something astonishing. When a dog smells their owner's scent, even if the owner isn't present, the reward center of the brain lights up. That's the same area that activates in humans when we see a loved one. In other words, your scent isn't just familiar, it's emotionally rewarding. It's comfort. It's love. So when you walk out the door, your dog doesn't just think, my human left. Their brain, in its own simple but powerful way, registers something closer to, the thing that makes me feel safe and happy is gone. That's not mere dependence. That's attachment, one of the deepest bonds any living being can form. Think about when you come home after being gone all day, the way they greet you, tail whipping like a helicopter, paws tapping on the floor, body wiggling with uncontrollable joy. That's not just excitement, it's relief. It's a physiological release of emotion that's been building in your absence. Studies show that dogs' oxytocin levels, the love hormone, spike dramatically when they reunite with their owners. The same chemical that flows between mothers and infants, between lovers, between best friends. It flows between you and your dog too. So yes, your dog really does miss you, but not in the way humans miss each other. They don't sit and think, it's been 6 hours, I hope she's okay. Their world isn't measured in minutes. It's measured in sensations. The smell of you, the sound of your voice, the feeling of your presence. When those sensations disappear, they feel a kind of emotional vacuum. And their behavior, waiting by the door, lying on your bed, carrying your slipper, is their way of filling that space. But let's go deeper, because not every dog reacts the same way when left alone. Some whine or bark. Some destroy furniture. Some simply sleep until you return. These aren't random habits. They're reflections of each dog's personality and psychological makeup. Dogs, much like humans, have different attachment styles. Some are secure. They trust that you'll come back, so they stay calm. Others are anxious. They fear abandonment, so they panic. Some are even avoidant. They pretend not to care, but deep down they do. These differences can often be traced back to early life experiences. A puppy who was separated from its mother too early, or one who experienced neglect, may grow into an adult dog who fears being left alone. That fear doesn't mean they're bad or disobedient. It means they're carrying emotional memories, just like people do. Psychologists call it separation distress. Not full-blown anxiety in every case, but a discomfort triggered by the absence of a loved figure. For dogs, that figure is you. You are, in a very real sense, their pack, their family, their home. There's an experiment that beautifully illustrates this bond. It's called the secure base effect, adapted from studies of human infants. When dogs are in an unfamiliar room, they tend to explore less if their owner is gone. But when the owner is present, even silently sitting in the corner, the dog becomes more confident, sniffing around, wagging, interacting with toys. The owner's presence acts as a psychological anchor. The dog doesn't need constant attention. They just need to know you're there. Now imagine what happens when that anchor disappears for hours. The house is quiet, the world feels bigger, emptier. Dogs may nap, but they remain alert to every sound that might signal your return. The hum of a car engine, a key turning, the faintest footsteps outside. Their brain stays tuned to the frequency of you. Yet, here's something truly fascinating. Dogs can actually learn your schedule. If you leave and return around the same time every day, their internal clock, based not on hours but on environmental cues like light, temperature, and smell, starts anticipating your return. Scientists observed that the scent of a human fades predictably over time, and some dogs seem to know that when it fades to a certain level, you're due back soon. That's why some dogs start waiting by the door minutes before you arrive. They don't have a watch, they have you built into their sense of time. But let's not romanticize too much. Dogs aren't endlessly grieving when you leave. Many adapt surprisingly well. After a while, they settle into their routine, nap, play, eat, and guard the home. Missing you doesn't mean suffering every second. It means that your presence holds emotional weight in their world. The stronger the bond, the deeper the echo when you're gone. That bond is not just love, it's trust. To a dog, trust means predictability. You leave and you come back. Every day. Over and over. That repetition teaches them security. So, if you're consistent, if you always return, your dog learns that absence is temporary. But if your schedule is erratic, or you've recently moved, or something in the household has changed, your dog's sense of security might wobble. That's when separation distress can grow stronger. In the modern world, where people work long hours, many dogs experience this regularly. They pace, chew, bark, or soil the house, not out of rebellion but confusion. They don't understand why their safe person disappears. The psychological pain they feel can mirror mild panic. And just like humans, dogs develop coping behaviors. Some self-soothe by licking or chewing objects that smell like you. Others retreat to certain spots where your scent lingers strongest. Some, sadly, sink into apathy until they hear the familiar sound of your car outside. One of the most heartwarming aspects of this connection is that dogs don't hold grudges for our absences. No matter how long you've been gone, when you return, the joy is pure, unconditional. That's because their emotional memory favors the positive. They remember you, your scent, your energy, your affection, more vividly than the loneliness that filled the hours in between. Dogs live in the now, but they love with the memory of before. That's why, even after weeks apart, they can recognize you instantly. Military dogs reuniting with handlers years later react as though no time has passed. That's emotional imprinting. Once a dog bonds deeply, that bond doesn't fade easily. You might wonder, if dogs don't measure time like humans, does it even matter to them how long you're gone? The answer lies in emotional rhythm. A few hours or a few days may feel different physically, but emotionally, the absence hits the same note. What matters isn't duration, it's the disruption of connection. Their sense of peace is tied to your presence. Remove it, and their emotional compass tilts. That's why building healthy independence in your dog is essential. Gradual departures, enrichment toys, background sounds, all of these teach your dog that solitude doesn't mean abandonment. When you give them mental stimulation and a safe space, you help them manage the emotional turbulence that comes with your absence. Still, the most touching truth is that they never fully stop missing you. Even when they learn to cope, a small part of them always listens for your return. And when they hear that door open, their world lights up again. When we talk about dogs missing us, we often imagine it in human terms, like longing, loneliness, or sadness. But a dog's emotional world isn't built on words or thoughts. It's built on sensations, instincts, and patterns that shape how they feel about you. You are not just the person who feeds them. You're the source of their stability, their sense of safety in a world they don't fully understand. Every routine, the sound of the coffee maker, the rhythm of your footsteps in the hallway, even the way you hum when you're getting ready, creates a soundtrack of comfort in your dog's life. When that soundtrack stops, the silence feels loud. That's why some dogs develop behaviors that look strange to us when we're away. Maybe they pull your clothes from the laundry basket, or curl up on your side of the bed. They're not being mischievous, they're surrounding themselves with what's left of you. Your scent is their emotional bridge to your presence. It's how they keep you alive in their world until you return. In many homes, people leave and return so routinely that both human and dog adapt without realizing how synchronized they've become. Dogs adjust their circadian rhythm, their internal body clock, to match yours. They eat when you do, nap when you do, become alert when you move. When you leave, it's not just your physical presence that disappears. Their rhythm loses its beat, and when you come back, everything falls into harmony again. Over generations of domestication, dogs have evolved to read humans better than any other species on the planet. They can sense changes in your facial expressions, your tone of voice, even the tension in your muscles. That's why they know you're leaving before you even pick up your keys. They feel your energy shift. In a way, your emotional state becomes their compass. When you're calm and confident before leaving, it reassures them that everything is okay. But if you hesitate, hover, or say long goodbyes filled with guilt, they pick up on that unease, and it can amplify their stress once you're gone. So, part of helping your dog miss you less is not in changing them, but in changing you. Leave calmly, come home calmly, build consistency. Dogs thrive on predictability. It tells them the world is safe. Still, some dogs struggle more deeply than others. Separation anxiety can be intense. A dog might howl, scratch doors, pace relentlessly, or destroy objects. In severe cases, their panic escalates to self-harm, chewing their paws or pulling fur. It's heartbreaking, but it's not hopeless. Because separation anxiety isn't defiance. It's fear, a cry for reassurance. Behaviorists recommend gradual desensitization, teaching your dog, step by step, that your absence isn't a crisis. Start by leaving for just a few minutes. Don't make a big deal out of leaving or returning. Slowly extend the time as your dog learns to relax. Some owners use recorded voices, puzzle toys, or calming pheromone diffusers to ease the transition. It's not about replacing you. It's about showing your dog that peace can exist even when you're not there. And science backs this up. Dogs who are trained through positive reinforcement and predictable routines tend to have lower stress responses when left alone. Their cortisol levels don't spike as high, and their heart rate normalizes more quickly once they settle. Emotional security, just like in humans, is built through trust repeated over time. What's truly remarkable is that this emotional learning mirrors what we see in children. In developmental psychology, secure attachment is formed when a caregiver is responsive and consistent. Dogs respond to that same model. They learn, you go, you come back, I am safe. That simple loop shapes their entire emotional resilience, but the bond can go even deeper. Research shows that dogs can pick up on our emotional states through scent. When humans feel stressed, we release certain chemical compounds in our sweat and breath. Dogs can smell that, and their own stress levels often rise in response. That means if you leave the house anxious, your dog might absorb a shadow of that feeling. Conversely, when you leave calm and confident, your scent carries that message too. They literally breathe in your emotions. Think about that for a second. Your emotional energy lingers in your home, woven into the air your dog inhales. They are, in every sense, living in your emotional echo. That's why emotional balance between owner and dog isn't just about obedience. It's about empathy running both ways. So yes, your dog misses you. But more profoundly, they feel you. They live through the connection you've built, not just physically, but emotionally and chemically. When you walk back through that door and they explode into joy, it's not just happiness, it's restoration. Their world clicks back into place. The scent, the sound, the warmth, all the missing pieces of safety return at once. Their wagging tail isn't just excitement, it's gratitude. A pure, wordless, you're home. Everything's right again. Dogs remind us of something that human life often forgets. Love doesn't need words, and time apart doesn't weaken real bonds. In their minds, connection is eternal. It pauses but never breaks. There are countless real stories that prove this. A golden retriever waiting at a bus stop every day for a deceased owner. A shelter dog who recognizes the volunteer who cared for him years ago. A family pet who greets their soldier owner after months of deployment, as though not a second has passed. These moments aren't coincidences. They're testaments to emotional memory that runs deeper than we once believed possible. Neuroscience helps explain how. A dog's hippocampus, the region responsible for memory, stores emotional experiences linked to smell and tone. That means even if your dog doesn't consciously think about you the way humans reminisce, they carry your emotional fingerprint permanently imprinted in their brain. When they see, hear, or smell you again, that imprint flares to life. It's why their joy is instantaneous and total. Interestingly, this emotional recall also explains why some dogs react strongly when owners pack suitcases. They remember that those objects once led to a long absence. The association triggers preemptive sadness or anxiety. Their mind doesn't distinguish between past and present. It relives emotion as though it's happening again. That's why kindness and reassurance go a long way. A gentle tone, a calm goodbye, a consistent routine. These are psychological anchors you leave behind. They tell your dog, "This story always ends with my return." When you start to view your dog's behavior through this lens, the small things become profound. The way they nudge your hand before you leave, the quiet sigh they make when you shut the door, the little bounce in their step when you come back. Each gesture is an expression of an emotional language we're only beginning to translate scientifically. But love, in the end, doesn't need translation. It's visible in every wag, every lick, every patient wait by the door. Dogs are living proof that attachment is a survival skill wrapped in affection. Their ancestors depended on pack bonds for safety. Over thousands of years, that instinct transformed into emotional loyalty to humans. In a world full of change, that's one of the most constant forms of love that exists. If you ever feel guilty about leaving your dog home alone, remember this: what defines your relationship isn't the hours apart, but the trust you build every time you return. Your dog doesn't count the minutes. You teach them security by always coming back. So the next time you step outside, take a breath and leave them with calm energy. Let them sense that everything is okay, and when you come home, meet their joy with your own. Because in that reunion, the simple act of coming back, you're completing the cycle of trust that defines their world. They will miss you again tomorrow, and the day after that. But in every goodbye, there's a promise your dog understands better than words. You always come back. And that promise, more than anything else, is what keeps their heart steady while they wait.